We had a very busy weekend, lots of different activities happening in the community, of course, many of you are aware of. But one of them was Friday night with the Forest, and that was a very good event, well attended. I was there that night, and it was great to see all the community getting together to meet with the officers and enjoy an evening at Willow Creek Park. Also, as many of you know, unfortunately we had to close down North Gateway Park. Somebody had requested and prayed for rain and water, and we sure did get it. So as the Arkansas has been flowing very well and very strong, of course that created a little bit of flooding within the North Gateway Park for safety reasons. They decided to close it down for the weekend, let the water levels lower down. Today the crews got out, did some cleanup, and we're able to reopen it. So I hope you're able to get out there today. If not, later this week. I'm sure the fishing is still great. So with that said, we do have a kind of a busy meeting this evening, so we'll move on with the meeting. Start off with the invocation, and we have Galen Burnett here for the invocation.
Father, we want to thank you and praise you for your work upon our city, your blessing upon our city. Father, we thank you for the rain that we have received. We ask that it come in gentle, a little more gentle. Father, we also thank you and praise you for the sunshine. It's great. It makes everything grow, and we thank you for that. Father, we pray now that your blessing will continue to be upon our city and upon our city council as they meet tonight. Father, give them insight and wisdom, direction as they have the discussions. Help them to bring out the points that they need to know before they make the decisions. Father, we pray that you just help them to make the best decisions for our city, for our area. Father, we just thank you and praise you because we know you want great things for us, and we thank you for that. We thank you and praise you in the name of our Savior, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Bellamy, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:03 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez.
Here.
Mike Bellamy.
Here.
Jerry Jenkins. Here. Kurt Crespin.
Here.
Mike Duffy.
Here.
Manuel Temez.
Here.
Brent Bates.
Here.
Rob Evans.
Here.
Kristen Swartz. Here. Lance Clark.
Here. Okay, we've all had, we do have an item that needs to be adjusted on our agenda. Two items, actually. There was a request to have two items added on at the last moment, which were two appointments to the Adjustment and Appeal Board for Rinda Emick and then Paul Day Jensen. If we can add or do an amendment to the agenda to add items 7 and 8 and move the miscellaneous down.
We got those,
They did already- do we
we got
need to
those
do
in
that
time
in this?
on Friday.
We did get it
We
in
did
time
get
for
it.
publication, so we don't need to do it as a
I
modification.
don't think so. We got it on the regular.
Okay, as long as it was published.
That's correct.
Great, okay. Well, then we won't need to do that. Never mind. Better safe than sorry.
That's correct.
So, with that said, everybody's had an opportunity to review the consent agenda. Did we have any items? Doesn't look like we have any items that need to be removed.
No.
Do we have a motion from the council?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any questions?
I got one quick question there. I think, looking at the bills to be paid, I think, do I need to, because one of those is,
No, it's just a reimbursement for
Okay.
travel, so you're
very
fine.
good.
Yeah, since
Thank
it's a reimbursement for travel.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, did we have a motion in a second?
Yes.
All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is public comment. This is the audience participation portion of the meeting. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and that is at the discretion of council if they'd like to extend that. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak to the council on an item that's not on the agenda? Okay, we do have one attendee. If you'll just state your name and address.
Hi, Belinda Sturgis, 1001 County Road G, Lamar, Colorado. Thank you all for giving me this time. I just have a quick question, a couple things, and I don't know, it's regarding the petitions in Tabor. I think you were looking at an executive decision, or executive meeting on the Tabor, and I was wondering if we could do that in a public manner.
It was a discussion to have a discussion about it, but that is with our attorney and to talk about legal information. So no, we would not do that since it is legal
Okay.
advice.
And then secondly, just a request to be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
And do I need to submit that in writing?
And what would that be for?
It would be for an education program that we're trying to do with voting and integrity.
Okay, we could do that.
Would that be okay?
You send it to me, and then I'll take a look at it and see what background information you need to have, and yes, we can put you on.
It's basically just encouraging people to get involved in the voting system and not be intimidated by it and get them to be involved. That's
Okay.
basically all it is. Because I think that we have it between all of us, we have people that are interested in participating, and I think it's great. So, thank you, I appreciate that.
All right. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on the council on an item that's not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. As always, we try to answer the questions that may be posed to us online through Messenger at the end of the meeting during our miscellaneous items. But with no other items, we will move on to the city treasurer's report. Kristen?
I don't have a report.
Okay. No city treasurer's report. We'll move to the city clerk.
So the only thing that I was going to bring up at your request was the city Christmas party. We currently have it scheduled for December 2nd at the Elks. I wanted to reach out to see if we wanted to continue with that venue, if you'd like to look for other venues, get some pricing. I just need some direction.
Right. I think we had discussed, but had no decision made about it, entertaining how much it would cost to go to 1301 or some other place.
Yeah, we did have a discussion about that while they were building, as far as looking at the Cow Palace or looking at the Eagles or other locations. A lot of our challenges are the size of the staff and the arrangement for that. Does the council have a preference or?
Well, I think it'd only be fair to at least give other businesses the opportunity to host the party, you know, if their venue size isn't big enough or they're way out of line on their price, then I think we should at least research it.
So she does have it scheduled for the 2nd. We can get bids and see what's available out there with other entities. This is when it was with the Elks, and she did that last year. So
Oh, it might.
if we held it
may not get that
now,
time.
Yeah, you just have to
but we can go out and do that. We can go out and shop and see what's available. It's just, I think she just needed direction if you wanted her to do that. If she does that, how would the council like to base that, like for her to base that decision? Would that be on the best price, the best meal per cost, overall price? If she needed to make a decision on that, how would you prefer her to do that?
Well, I think she's professional enough and does a good enough job for the city, she can just make it all.
No pressure.
Thank you for that confidence, but how about I get some numbers and bring it back to
There you
council
go.
next week? In 2 weeks.
I think that's the
That work?
You know her too.
All right. So why don't we do that? If you can just get 1 or 2 other alternatives and then bring them back. And then we also needed to discuss, and I don't know if it's something the council would want to give a direction on or if Rob just wants to do it, but we probably need to get her a committee because I know this is a huge, huge task. And I know
We'll do it with
the
her.
3 of you were with there? Okay. I just know last year was kind of a huge undertaking and it was a great job, but I know it gets to be taxing on 1 or 2 people, so
Do we have an events planner yet in town?
Yes, we do have an events planner, and I'm sure she can help as well.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. And a marketing coordinator.
Yes, we got lots of help.
Yeah, great.
And that's all I had.
Okay, great. All right, so the next item on the agenda would be the city administrator's report.
All right, let's get this on. We got one more coffee with Rob here. It's at the Hickory House on Wednesday. We have one more day of the Powers Medical Health Fair on Wednesday, July 26th as well, at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Our next Common Grounds is going to be on August the 2nd at our Cultural Event Center, and we've had more and more people showing up on that one, and just wanted to see if you guys had any, we've been doing round robin on all of our departments, and if you guys had any other suggestions of bringing somebody in from outside of the city to come. If not, I'm going to have it on the administration again. So if you guys have any suggestions, bring it to me and we'll put it up there, but otherwise you're going to get the admin, my IT, my admin, all my guys up here in the head shed.
Well, I think that would be good. The only thing I would suggest differently this time, as we do this new round, is to advertise, when you go to advertise it on Facebook or in the media, that we're doing the Common Grounds, to put in that we're focusing on that department. I noticed that last year, that over the last year or a few months, that it doesn't have what department we're focusing on.
Okay.
Or maybe you have changed that already, I don't know.
No, we can include that.
Okay, if you can include that, and that way if people have certain questions about how the administrations ran, or what's happening in the street department, or what's happening in the police department, they know exactly what event to attend to get those questions answered, so.
Will do.
And I'd really like to see the fire department come back, being it was a holiday and we didn't get very many people in to visit with them.
Okay, we'll get them up here. They've been doing such a great job that we'll get them some more love up there, okay?
Thank you.
As an added, what about our 911?
Oh, they're included in our,
They're included.
yeah, so we'll get them.
Public safety.
Yep.
That's what I thought, okay.
Okay, the corporate cuts is coming up, I know that this will be our third year. We've had some amazing growth and participation, and you've seen some, like last year, it was in 1 o'clock softball or something like that. It was, the first night was amazing. It was long. But it was,
Kickball, wasn't it?
yeah. Was it kickball? Oh, kickball, I'm sorry. No wonder I forgot. It was a long tournament. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of participation, and there's going to be more teams this year, a lot more events. So I think everybody should come out and see how, the teamwork of Lamar is. I mean, it's fun. We have the Friends of the Library Book Sale. I think we just decided the swimming thing is not, did we say we're going to have to cancel that one? The swim day for the Friends of the Library Book, was that it, Anthony? Yeah, the chlorine levels is
That was,
not correct on the pool, so we're going to cancel that one. But the Library Craft Fair and Farm to Market on Saturday, August the 5th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Cultural Event Center. We're having more and more of these craft fairs and farm markets. It's good. Nowadays, with everything growing, it's going to be great. The Sand and Sage Fair, August 5th to the 12th. There's a rodeo and barbecue on August 11th and 12th. That's a big one. And the parade, August 12th at 10 a.m. We have another budget work session that we're going to have here. Kristen's going to be leading Monday, August the 7th at 6 p.m. Be down here. The Tin-Man Triathlon, Saturday, August the 12th, Willow Creek Park. And let's see, projects updates. If you had any questions on all the projects, I know that we're right now working on getting the field ready for the Escondido Park so they can have their season start this year looks really good. There's a couple of areas that have to get fixed from, the construction and, working out on the bugs, but that place looks great out there, and it's had a lot of water this year, so everything's growing. We just have to, the wear areas are high and a lot of traffic. You got to get used to that. So we have a new Parks and Rec director, and I know he's going to get this right.
Okay, no pressure.
No pressure at all.
So I have a question about the Escondido.
Yeah.
Are we going to get that leveled off for extra parking The lots.
That other lot,
there, or
yes, and just like.
Before season starts, or are we gonna try to do it during season?
It won't be before season's done and completed. We can probably get the roadway done and it being gravel or, some type of other, but there won't be parking laid out for it yet.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of getting the fence down and putting the road
Yep.
base so that way the buses could pass through.
That's correct.
rather
Instead of
than
having to go the
trying
long way around.
Yeah.
But we will have the throughway will be fixed.
Are we gonna have the signs by then? I know you're getting tired of hearing about signs, but. Getting tired of keep bringing it up until we get the signs.
It's been a while.
But Kendra I know she keeps pressing them on getting an ETA when they're gonna be coming in.
Can we get a different company or is
Well,
there something else we could do?
The last one canceled on us after we had it up there, so.
Because that was back in March, I think.
Oh, but it was done in May or June, whenever the last time they canceled on us. They were supposed to come in and cancel on us. We'll get,
Well, I know at the last meeting, it was also, we were informed it was canceled. Have we made any new contacts with new companies yet?
yes,
Okay.
we have.
And then the same with the CDOT signs that they were going to reorder as well, so,
That's right. We don't have those in yet.
okay.
But then while I'm on it,
Yeah.
I do have a compliment. I know, buckle up. So I had 3 different citizens. 2 of them came to my job and 1 called me and wanted to specifically compliment Tracy and his crew out at the ball field for the Windmill Classic. They done an exceptional job. There was nothing but compliments about the fields that they had to use. There was a hiccup and a little struggle, and they said they handled it absolutely professionally and really busted tail to get the field. They had to move to a different field, a different town, and then they got it cleaned up and ready to go, and they were impressed.
All of the Parks and Recs guys should get every compliment I can give them, because every time we have a storybook walk or these things that we're having a ribbon cutting, everybody makes the compliments about, look at how well everything looks right now. Our parks look great right now, so. Tell them good job from us, would you? Thanks, Anthony.
The only other thing I was going to ask about, I know it's not a project update, but it is kind of a project because over the last year, we've added new positions. Some of the things that I've heard over the last 10 years is the city of Lamar needs an event planner so we can start getting games in here and do more things. And we added that position. We filled it with Martha Alvarez-Barrett. We also were looking at trying to do economic development and how do we do community development. We filled that with Anne Marie Crampton. And now we've talked about communications and public relations. That was one of the last jobs that you had to fill, and I guess you have a new hire.
Start today. Is she
Started
here?
today.
Come on, you want to come up and say hi?
Come on up, Gloria.
So I wanted to welcome Gloria.
Gloria is our new communications and marketing, and she has got a great attitude. She loves Lamar. She's always looking at anything else she can do, and have nothing but great, not stories, but recommendations about you right now. So I appreciate the attitude, and thank you for all of the help you're going to be giving us. And don't be afraid to work her really hard.
Welcome aboard, Gloria.
Welcome
Thank
aboard,
you, guys.
Gloria.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you.
And of course, you mentioned our new Parks and Rec Director with Anthony Ventura and our new building inspector with Stephanie Schrute, so.
So my last thing is, I need some help with a new hire that we're going to be, well, he's actually already been working for us, and he actually worked for us for quite a bit.
That's right.
And now he's back working for us. So if you could help swear in a new officer for me?
Well, I can do that tonight, so one more addition to our staff.
I put him to work today too, didn't I?
All right. Well, if your family wants to come up with you, that'd be fine too. You're welcome to, or you just want to stay back?
I
Okay.
think my daughter's gonna pin my badge on, so.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name,
I, Nathan Loza,
do solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of Colorado,
do solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of Colorado,
I will faithfully and impartially enforce the laws of the state of Colorado and the ordinances of the city of Lamar.
I will faithfully and impartially enforce the laws of the state of Colorado and the ordinances of the city of Lamar.
And do further swear to discharge the duties of a police officer for the city of Lamar, Colorado,
And do further swear to discharge the duties of a police officer for the city of Lamar, Colorado,
to the best of my skill and ability, so help me God.
to the best of my skill and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. We'll get that signed and welcome
Yes,
back.
sir. Thank you.
Get that signed.
Thank you,
All right.
All right.
Have your daughter come up to pin you.
He's got it.
Push it right in.
Come on.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Nice seeing everybody again. I recognize some faces.
Welcome aboard again,
Hopefully the
Nathan.
good way.
Welcome back.
Yep, welcome back.
Welcome back, Nick.
Congratulations.
Ross,
Oh, that's right, former Marine, hoorah.
yes, sir.
Good to have you back.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anything else? Any questions for Rob, our city administrator?
Oh, there is no former Marine. We are always Marines.
Always Marine,
Sorry.
prior Marine.
So I know this past week we've been working hard trying to get our district CML meeting
That's right.
scheduled. We have it scheduled for September the 23rd, I believe.
Is it the 23rd?
Sometime in September, middle of September.
We've got a
We'll be hosting all
regionals.
the regional area communities into Lamar, Colorado for the Colorado Municipal League District meeting, so that'll be great, so. Oh, it's not a Saturday, it would be
It's the 21st.
21st, okay.
Sounds right.
Okay. So we'll get more information about that in the near future. But thank you, Rob, thank you for your update, and Linda and Kristen. Any last before we move on? Okay, seeing none. Next item on the agenda is reports and correspondence from the council. Start over with Joe.
I don't have any tonight.
Mike?
Nothing for me.
Gary?
Nothing for me.
The only thing I have, and I'm going to defer to an agenda item, is I went to the Ports to Plains in Fort Morgan this past couple of weeks. Very interesting, brought me up to speed on totally on what's going on with Ports to Plains, and I'll defer it to our agenda item later on in the meeting.
Okay. Don't have anything.
I have from LPI, like Rob had mentioned, Corporate Cup is the 3rd through the 5th. Teams are full. It's going to be a great time. We've got food vendors. We've got a lot of good things happening. To any of the sponsors who are still needing to get paid up, please get that done sooner than later. We're also working on a few future projects to wrap up what's left from the DOLA grants. And so we had a discussion today, and as things move forward, the people will be reached out to, and there's been a few ideas that were spurred from Anne Marie and Kristen that we found out about some things on Main Street, light poles, benches, things like that. So we started that conversation today. As far as PEP goes, just want to remind everyone, Brewing for Business is the first Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. at Brew Unto Others. It involves new and existing businesses. Come on down, and there'll be new subjects each time. And then there's going to be a career fair out at the college on September 20th. The first half of the day will be for the college students, and the second half will be for the public. So if you're looking for a job or to expand your career field, that'll be a good opportunity to see what's available in our area. And then lastly, the Bear Committee, which I should have written it down. Business expansion, attraction and retention. The subcommittee has decided to start doing some collaborative effort with the airport in regards to future economic growth and expansion in that area. So that's all I have from those two today.
Okay. Good. I had a couple of quick items. One was I just received a letter here from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It was an invitation to join the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Albuquerque District for the celebration of their 75th anniversary for John Martin Dam and Reservoir on October 21st, 2023 at John Martin in Hastings. They invite the council and everybody in the community to join them for this platinum anniversary. The celebration will begin at 9:45 Mountain Standard Time at the John Martin Dam with the keynote speakers at 10 a.m., followed by a family day of events commencing with fireworks at sunset. So if you're interested, you may reach out to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. As for the council, you'll need to let me know that we can RSVP by September the 21st. So I'll share that with the council as we move forward, and you can take a look at your calendars. Aside from that, I do have individuals here tonight. I don't know if you'd like to speak, Ivor. Ivor Hill has, or will you be speaking about that later with his project? Okay. All right. So we do have him here. He's one of the developers that's working on a couple of different projects. He just recently finished up one project, which was the old homeless shelter, and that is now up for sale. He's done a very good job on that. It looks beautiful. So he'll be speaking to us a little bit later in one of the agenda items. But I thought I'd just mention it since you do have the project on the corner of Parmenter and First?
Division.
Division. Okay, for the new housing. I couldn't remember which street it was, so we'll talk about that more later. Next item on the agenda is a Ports to Plains update from Beverly Haggard. Beverly?
Okay, we had our board meeting was on the second, was on like the 13th, 11th, but we had the day before, if none of you know, Fort Morgan was picked for one of the towns for HGTV. And after our update on the northern part, or the middle part of the corridor, which is from Lyman to the South Dakota state line, Deb Cotter brought us up to date. There is only 18 miles that they are now going to 4-lane, and Nebraska has already gone ahead and it's out for bid and plans on doing the 4-lane on that from Alliance to, I can't pronounce the name of the town, but anyway, it's from Alliance. It's on Alliance and into Scotts Bluff, in through there. And so she brought us up on that. Kathy Shull brought us up to date on the Colorado portion of it. And if you've gone to Fort Morgan lately, you will find that there's one section of the passing lane done. There's 2 more sections that they are one-way roads and have a stoplight at both ends, and Mike can probably attest to that because he got caught in one for 30 minutes instead of 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Going up there. But I said at least it's construction money going to the Ports to Plains. Then on our meeting, we had an update from Hans Scarborough on the legislature in DC because David Poe is our lobbyist there, and Sherry Huddleston is our lobbyist in Texas, but she's also willing to come to Colorado because Texas their legislature only meets every other year. So if we need her to do some lobbying, which I'm sure I've told Lauren that I want him to really push hard because we need, and I don't think Mike understood this, or I didn't say very well the last time, when we need to write our legislatures and our DOT and everybody else, the governor, anybody you can think of, to get this designated as a future interstate. It's a 25-year plan. It's not going to cost Colorado anything to designate it as a future interstate. But if we're not on a 20-year plan, I mean, Texas has already got it designated as future interstate. They're working on sections now of getting the planning and design and everything else. And let me just tell you what part in Texas. They have 963 miles of that's future interstate. They have 9 interstate, US, and state highways involved in this. They have 542 bridges that have to be rebuilt. They have 3 international border crossings, which are Laredo, Eagle Pass, and Del Rio. And I've been to 2 of them, Del Rio and Laredo, and we are going to Eagle Pass for our annual conference. Also, there's 26 counties that are involved. There's 30 cities and 6 DOT districts. So all of this they met for 2 years and got this all designated as a future interstate. So Sherry worked really hard to get this done. She knows the process, and that's why we need to bring her on, but we also need city councils. We need business people. We need everybody to write letters and ask for future interstate designation. Once it gets designated, then the planning and everything else can go into effect. But if you don't have it designated, you can't even ask for federal dollars for planning on it. And that's what they've already got, if I can find it here, how much money Texas has on, and Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska asked for $20 million and got it. But if we don't ask for it, if we don't, I mean, you know, and they aren't even asking for a future interstate. They just had a plan ready to go, but our DOT director doesn't even want to talk about anything more than 5 years. They need to get on the stick and do a 25-year plan, and this needs to be designated as a future interstate. If not, all the businesses can, and because New Mexico's already on board. I mean, it's already designated as future interstate. Both of their senators are on board. They've already got it designated. There's businesses that want to go there. I mean, and Ratone's already got 1 interstate going through it. So if they get 2 interstate, Ratone's going to get all the business and we're not going to get anything. That's why I say we've got to get on the stick, have the city, I would really appreciate the city writing a resolution or something and sending it to the state and all of our state representatives and senators so that they can know that we need, this is a future, I mean, this is already designated as a high priority freight corridor. So we need to have it designated as a future interstate to bring it up to interstate standards so that it will get on, at least on the agenda for in 25 years. If we're not going to get there.
Has any of the other communities in Colorado along the...
Lyman's already doing that, Fort Morgan and
I
Brush.
was asking if they already had a resolution.
No, they don't have a resolution yet. They're getting ready.
Okay.
If we need a resolution, I could probably call Joe Kiley and have him write us up one if you would, a sample of one.
If you can get me a framework or a draft, Anne Marie can help you guys get something. We'll present it at the next council meeting, but I would like you to also draft letters for us of support and requesting, so, for the future designation. So we'll get those out, just help us
If they
get
have
some.
something as a template, that would help a lot.
Okay, I will call Joe Kiley as I leave here and ask him
That way,
to email you and me he's got your email address. Me and Mike, and see if he can get us, what he would like us to say in it and everything else so that we can get it signed and get it to the senators and the DOT and everybody else. Because once TxDOT figured out how much more money it was going to bring, and plus the congestion off of I-35 and off of I-25, going right up through this is the perfect place to have it. Because if anybody's driven to Denver lately, I went at 8 o'clock the other morning, and 9 miles south of where I needed to turn off to go to Inglewood, it was stop and go. And I'm sure I've got to go in the morning, I'm sure it's at 10 o'clock to Lone Tree, I'm sure it'll be the same way tomorrow morning.
If I can reiterate there, the biggest thing here, and I've got a passion for economic development, this is huge.
Yes, it is.
This will getting that designation is going to really help Lamar as well as all the surrounding communities up to 287.
Oh, yeah, our president of the board is economic development person for Lubbock. And as soon as they got the designation, just the designation is of I-25, and it is the number I-27. It will be I-27, the number I-27. So, but just getting that designation, he's gotten several people just to say, you're getting an interstate through, we want business, we want to put our business there because of that.
Right. Well, if you can get us that information, that'd be
Okay,
great.
I will call Joe Kiley now and ask him to draft letters of support and wanting to get it designated. I will do that. Okay?
Copy me on those as well.
So basically, the idea would be to designate from Lamar up to
No,
87 to Lyman.
it will be from the state line,
Okay,
all the way 287 to Lyman, and then from Lyman, it'll be 71 up to the Nebraska border.
and into Scottsbluff, basically.
Yeah, and then I think, and Oklahoma has already said, if Colorado would designate, Oklahoma will designate the 40 miles through Oklahoma that needs to be designated
Because
as
I
a
know
future
when you were here
interstate.
last time, you said that right now, was it Clovis that wants it to go through there? What was the?
No, it's Clayton
Clayton?
and Raton.
So
It goes from
basically you go Dalhart over to Clayton
Yeah, it
instead of
goes from
Dalhart.
Dalhart over to Clayton, and New Mexico is the only state that's got all 4-lane. I mean, it's 4-lane, it's not 2-lane. And with designation, our treasurer is the mayor pro tem from Clayton, and he's had several businesses call Clayton just wanting, since it was a future interstate designation too.
So basically, if Colorado opted in, it would go Dalhart, Boise City, up through here instead of to Clayton, or would it?
Well,
No, it'll
it's gonna go
have a
both
spur
ways.
off
Okay.
Spur off.
to Raton.
Clayton to
But
Raton.
it'll go right straight up through here.
Which when you think of truckers, if they see that straight shot up,
They're
Yeah,
gonna take that.
they're gonna take that instead of taking.
Plus it's less traffic.
Yeah, it's less traffic and
As opposed
everything
to
else
going
going from Raton onto I-25 because of Raton Pass and all
Well, I
of
lived in
that.
Springs for 10 years, and I-25 is just
Is
a mess.
just, yeah, it is just totally a mess. And that's why we want a future designation, because a future designation means that we can have studies done and, get federal money to do studies, get everything, so that when there is money available, that they can go ahead and build it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, thank
Any
you
other
very
questions?
much. Any other questions before we move
I just
on?
have a comment. So
Okay.
the city of Lamar complains about the truck traffic through Lamar. Okay, so what their complaint should be is the junk truck traffic through Lamar. And the reason that you have all of these off-breed companies coming through Lamar is because the weigh stations are so much more lax on the 287 route. So if this gets designated and they start building it through here, then more funds will go to the DOT. So our DOT station out here at Lamar can now be increased into a full.
Full 24-hour port again.
Exactly. We can
Yes.
shut down the junk trucks. That's what we need to shut down more. than
And,
just trucks.
it's also, I'm going to tell you right now that the future interstate will not go through Lamar, Colorado. It will have an alternate route, but if we're all, they'll put a spur, like a spur around Amarillo, a spur around all the big cities, but you're going to have people build out by those spurs too, and then also bring, since we have a rail here, we have Highway 50 going through here, US 50.
Regional airport.
Yeah, we've got a regional airport, we've got all the transportation needs, that a business
The
wants.
manufacturer
Yeah, that a manufacturer, all of that wants, because we have rail, we have an airport, and if we just get it designated as future interstate, it will bring business. When it's a real interstate, it will bring lots of commerce to everything. And we
Please
will
get us
grow.
those letter templates, because I think that's something I would like us to move forward with.
Okay, I will get him.
Well, one thing I learned at the conference, everybody talks about the bypass. We shouldn't call it a bypass, we should call it a reliever route, because it's not taking business away from Main Street. Those people that are like truckers, they're gonna go right around. Yeah, like
Well,
you
I
said,
think-
they're gonna be businesses.
Move out there,
Revolve around
but it
those
also, if we get a reliever route, you're gonna have, as a city council and as everybody involved, on a way to get in and off of it. You want the cars to be able to come straight, you want the trucks to have to turn, is your whole thing.
The problem is that it's two different topics. One is an interstate and a designation of an interstate, and the other one is a reliever route or an alternate truck route. And for some reason, those two get tied up together in the same conversation, and it becomes stagnant, and we butt heads, and nothing happens at all.
At all.
And nothing has happened
But, yeah,
at all
well,
because of the stagnant.
And
So
they're
I
gonna
think-
have to have a whole bunch of reliever routes in Texas,
Right.
but they got the designation before, and then they're going, Dumas is a perfect example. It's about the same size as Lamar. They're just now finishing Dumas with concrete through their Main Street.
Right.
And now they're wanting a reliever route to go around Dumas, so, but it's also been designated on as a future interstate. So it will be a lot easier to get money for the alternate truck route to go around Dumas, because it'll be built to interstate standards.
Well, I guess my point was, we need to focus on trying to get the designation.
Designation right now, that's true.
First and
So-
foremost of anything else, and not have the other conversation, because that just slows it
Yeah,
down.
but I will get that, I will have Joe Kiley get us some examples, and we can put our own wording in, or you can change it, whatever you want.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bev.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is to award bid 43-007 for comprehensive plan update consultant. Kristen?
We went out for bid for our comprehensive plan consultant, which is
Sorry. You're kind of soft-spoken, so.
okay, I'll get louder, which is an important forward movement on our comprehensive plan development. Of course, as you're well aware of, we got a grant from Local Affairs, the Department of Local Affairs. We got an award of $150,000, and the city is required to match it $150,000. We did have a budget, in the budget for $400,000. We went out for bid. It was advertised in the local paper on June 13th. We also had a list of qualified consultants that was supplied by the Department of Local Affairs. We held a pre-proposal meeting, which was well-attended on May 18th. It was a Zoom meeting. 2 proposals were received by my office by 5 o'clock on June 13th as required. The bid opening was held on June 14th. I reviewed the proposals to begin the process, and then our committee, Rob, Anne Marie, and I met several different times, went through the bids with a fine-tooth comb, scored each of the bids, and we would like to recommend to council that the bid be awarded to Ayers Associates / Bohannon Houston, and allow the mayor to sign the consultant agreement upon the approval of Anne Marie, me, Rob, and the city attorney. We did receive a draft of that agreement today, so we're starting that process of reviewing what was in that. I forwarded it to the attorney. So if we'd entertain any questions, if you have any.
So one of the major questions that I had, and I know Rob and I have briefly talked about that, was that the county received the same grant for their comprehensive plan at the same time. And DOLA was wanting us to try to coordinate to get the same company, and that way we're not duplicating work or working against one another, or, trying to make it more streamlined. Can you tell me, is this the same company that the county picked, or did they pick something different?
So we also met with, it'll be their land use board that's running their comprehensive plan process. So we met, the committee met with their land use board, the county's land use board, and the county administrator, and had a discussion. They had received all of their bids. It was a great meeting, I thought. We could all tell during the meeting that they were leaning towards a different consultant. And I did receive a call on the 18th from Mark directly and explained their position. They had decided to go with a different consultant. And the reason being is they're doing a full code update through the county where we're just doing a review of ours. And so they had to look at a consultant that had that as one of their major strengths because it's a very important update to their codes. But they also discussed, they chose Logan Simpson, but they, have discussed with them and, we don't see a problem going forward. Ayers is willing to work with them and Logan Simpson's willing to work with Ayers. We don't see it as being a problem. It's been a very cordial, really productive meetings that we've had with the county, good communication, good interactions. I myself, and I don't want to speak for Rob and Anne Marie, but I feel like it's been a pleasant process, to be honest with you. Gathered a lot of information, from them. And so they've chosen to go with a different company. But I feel like, and I think Rob and Anne Marie agree that, I think it'll go smoothly. So,
The city's gonna get what we pay for, and Ayers will give us a good product. The efficiency of having one do both would have saved them some money and, the products that they can produce. But the city will get, we'll get a good product out of this.
And you don't foresee an issue with DOLA or them having a concern with this at all either? Okay.
Did they come recommended? Have they done other municipalities?
Ayers.
No, our Ayers? Oh,
Ayers,
yeah.
yes, sir. They had several references that we called and checked on different references. We've used Ayers. I know a familiar group. They have a group that does comprehensive planning as well within their company. We've always been very satisfied with Ayers as far as what they've got going on and the way that their proposal was written. We felt like we could tailor, there's a piece that we can tailor to things that we want to see maybe stronger in the proposal, the way they handle maybe community meetings and things like that. We felt like everything about them was fairly good, or we could, use that piece of their proposal to get exactly what we needed. There was quite a price difference, and I think with the other company is large. They've done a lot of very large cities. Ayers is more familiar working with smaller communities, and we feel like that'll also be an asset. So that was one of the reasons we chose them as well. So I think they've got, to answer your question, I felt like they had good experience. They've got good staff members. They laid out their teams and the team in the proposal, which covered all of the areas, I felt like. So
Did
I felt
Logan
like they were-
Simpson bid for us?
They did not.
They did not, okay.
Ayers teamed up with another good company too to help out. So they have access to other resources, so I think they'll be good.
Yeah.
So that was my other question, the $60,000 variance there. Is there services that they're not providing that Inglewood was, or are they both on the same page and they just were that more cost
they were-
efficient?
I think they were comparable. They covered everything. Both bidders covered everything that we wanted in our RFP. Of course, the way they were approaching it was a little bit different. The RIC company was, I know one of the pieces that we were kind of shocked
30
at, where they had bid 30 community meetings. And I think that's just mind-blowing, and it's in a community this size. I mean, you start to lose people. So there were some things like that they were just a little bit out of touch with, because I think they're used to doing very large cities, very large, planning. And so I think, there was a little bit of a disconnect there with that one for me. So I think that was one way that I looked at it as well. So, and I think the committee agreed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. And has the county already formalized their decision?
Tomorrow?
They were going to do that at their next commissioner meeting, yes.
The next commissioner
Yes,
meeting,
they
so
were going to
that's
make
already
a
in motion.
recommendation. It is.
Just making sure.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to, go and pull the rug out from under them if
No.
they're aware of it, and as long as they are,
Oh, no.
you know,
They
you've
were
already had those
making a
discussions
decision.
and-
Mhm. Their board had already met, their land use board.
Okay,
And I believe that
They sent
they had already voted on that on the 18th.
okay.
And then they were taking it before the commissioners at their next meeting.
The council have any other questions?
I have none. You covered it very well, Kristen.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I don't have any.
I had one question. I noticed that Rick's has on their team a bilingual community engagement coordinator. Does AIRS have that?
That was one of the specific questions that we sent out. We had a list of questions that we wanted to ask each firm for clarification, and that was one that we sent to AIRS. And they are fully ready to supply that in bilingual notices and interpreters and things like that. So that wasn't going to be an issue with them.
Got it. Thank you.
So, yeah, we had noticed that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question.
Okay. With no other questions, what's the council's pleasure?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion is as recommended, or?
As recommended.
Okay, and your second is recommended? Okay, we have a motion and a second to recommend that award the bid to the consultant of Ayers and Associates, Bohannon, Houston, and allow the mayor to sign the consultant agreement upon approval of the city treasurer, city administrator, and city attorney. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is to schedule a public hearing for the special event permit for the Sand and Sage Roundup Fair Board. This was introduced by Linda for the Sand and Sage Fair. Linda?
Okay, so the Sand and Sage Roundup Fair Board submitted an application for a special event permit on September 2nd. Excuse me, the event is on September 2nd, I apologize. They submitted the application, it's for a benefit for the Duval family. I'm just requesting that we schedule that event for August 14th,
Hearing.
as close to 7 o'clock as possible.
For August 14th. Are we good with that, council?
Yes,
I'm good with that.
Do we need to vote on that formally?
Yes, please.
so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to schedule a meeting for August 14th as close to 7 p.m. as possible. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Agenda item number 4 is authorization to apply for the Great Outdoors Colorado Planning and Capacity Grant. This is initiated by Kristen Schwartz and Anthony Latour. Is Anthony talking tonight, or?
We're both going to tag team you.
Okay. Come on up.
I just asked him to be here. It's been a pleasure working with him on this so far, and we put a lot of work into it. We had to have a concept paper in by Thursday, so we
Condensed timeline.
worked on that. But the actual grant application is due September 7th. A little background on that, we had, our last recreation master plan, I know they worked on it in 2014. I believe they formalized it in 2015. And we had met, before Anthony had started, we had met with our GOCO representative, and she was very clear on GOCO's expectations that we couldn't apply for funding for any projects or places, is what they call that, until we had a new recreation master plan in place. So they offer these planning and capacity grants to assist with the cost of that. And we are blessed with the fact that all of our planning came due basically at the same time. So, And there is a state statute that requires, and you can read that in our comprehensive plan, that there be a recreation element in your comprehensive plan. So we're trying to time this so that we can run this plan along with that process with the comprehensive plan. And of course, you know, we've already finished our airport master plan and our water master plan. So all of these things are coming together. The timing is perfect. So we would like your permission, and I'll let Anthony go ahead and add anything that he has. But we are asking for your permission to apply and hit that September 7th deadline for the application. Do you have anything?
Yes, I'd like to add that one of the main goals of this master plan would be sustainability. I think the former master plan was a great plan, but it failed to bring to the forefront the sustainability for the staff members on the Parks and Recreation and Cemetery staff, and what that would entail with encompassing the several different areas that we have encumbered with the ball fields and the North Gateway Park and the bike and walking trail. Staff members are pressed, and they're working extremely hard to keep the parks looking the way that they do. And I think during this next plan that we will include a sustainability piece, not only to build and add more, but to also add more staff into that plan so that we can take better care than what we are. They're doing a great job, but they're hustling and bustling. I got a chance to meet with all of them today and introduce myself, and we've got a very, very good staff of Parks and Recreation, and it's a blessing to come into a situation with staff that truly cares about what they do.
And Anthony and I had a good visit. The last master plan was very conceptual by design. We'd like this plan to be more involved and more comprehensive. We also want to do a study of our rates and fees that we're charging through the leagues and programs and the different things that we have going on through this, to assist that, you know, because a lot of times you come up with all these things that people want, because GOCO is very community-driven. So we're going to have community meetings in this planning process as well. And GOCO has to know that that's what your public wants, you know. But our piece of it is how do you sustain that? You know, you can do all these grand things, but do we have the staff? Do our rates and fees support what we have going on? So him and I want to take this plan one step further and get it more comprehensive, not just conceptual. So we've been talking about that a lot because it's important to us to know, you know, and have experts looking at that. So the consultant that we choose, we want them to be able to also work with the consultant with the comprehensive plan to some extent, but also to hit these other things and make sure that we're hitting all age groups. The last master plan was very geared to youth, which is not a bad thing, but we have other, you know, age groups, and we want to make sure that it's very diverse and inclusive of all of our people within the city of Lamar boundaries and bringing outside people in. So it was important for us to make sure that this one is geared towards a much more comprehensive look at the whole departments, you know, as a whole.
I really like the sustainable part.
Yes.
I've heard the mayor say several times, we can build a park, we can build this, we can build that. But how are you gonna pay for it in the future? Somebody's gotta continuously pay for it.
Maintenance, repair, all
And the
that.
upkeep.
Yeah.
So I think there's a few concerns that I was having. Sustainability is one, of course. We need to do upgrades and updates to the parks and recreation items that we currently have, like Escondido Park, like North Gateway Park, like Willow Creek Park. I mean, the walls there, as far as the stone walls, are falling apart. And that's a historical, you know, thing where we'd like to keep those up to date. And so I think there's some updates and upgrades that need to be done. But last but not least is, you know, even though it's Parks and Rec, it's still what we hired an events planner for the purpose of utilizing those parks and rec, you know, Parks and Rec facilities, and having some funding or some sustainability for that, so that she can have the funding available to host more than one Windmill Classic per year, or and have more baseball tournaments a year, more basketball, more softball, more soccer, but to utilize these more frequently so we can use it as an economic driver. I think that's very important for us. And that was the intent of starting these new positions with event planning and community development and PR and communications. That's the whole idea, was to help try to build upon that. So I think that'll be a big part as well, or should be a big part.
And we
as well.
talked about that in
Yeah.
our conceptual paper.
Okay, well, sounds good. Council, do you have any other questions or comments, or you want to add anything?
Frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf, we have that.
So,
I know, but-
what we're gonna encourage is the public's gonna have to be saying it. Because GOCO, our
They need to
consultant will be
tell us.
listening, because GOCO is very driven. So our public will be needing to get out there and speak loud if there's, different groups and different things that they need.
If you want pickleball,
Pickleball.
I want to reiterate that so everyone online hears that if you want something in this community, you have to speak up and come to the appropriate places and ask for it.
That's correct.
especially during this time with the Community Development Master Plan.
Yep.
And now with Parks and Recreation.
It is the ideal time.
And if they don't know who to come to, who the appropriate person is, they can come to me and I'll get them to the right person to talk to.
And you can ask your city council members and we can direct you to the right people as well and get you to Rob.
Yep.
Just
Okay.
ask.
So thank you for saying that, Kristen, because that I think is a big piece that
Yes.
we're not mind readers. You have to come to us, and then if we don't know, we'll get you to the right place.
And this is we have several opportunities coming up now for the public to speak.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So what is the council's pleasure on this?
I'll go ahead and make that motion that we authorize to apply.
Okay, we
As
have a second?
recommended here.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to authorize the staff to apply for the GOCO Planning and Capacity Grant and to hire a consultant to prepare our recreation master plan update, or to hire a consultant. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Agenda item number 5. Did you want to come up and talk about this a little bit? We have, a couple meetings ago, we, as a council and in cooperation with PEP, Powers Economic Prosperity, contracted with James Cisneros as an economic development consultant. And Mr. Cisneros has been working with various tribes on our behalf and working to try to increase economic development. This would be an amendment to his agreement for expenses, right?
Right. He is working on our behalf. He's going to actually see people. He's coming here as well. It just makes perfect sense that we should kind of hold him harmless for his travel expenses, or in this case, probably co-invest in his travel expenses, so since what we're negotiating won't pay 100% of his travel expenses. So I'm just asking if you'd be willing to contribute up to $5,000 towards his travel expenses during this contract.
So far, he has traveled to Lamar to meet with the council and with PEP. And he's also traveled to the Durango region to meet with two tribes, or one tribe there. And we are in the middle of scheduling another meeting in the Durango area again as a follow-up meeting. That was, his previous meeting was very successful or promising. So we're looking at making another trip there. So there will be various trips, and of course, with a limit of 5,000, he needs to be very cautious on how he spends that and utilizes it to make sure he's getting the most benefit out of it. So your recommendation is?
My recommendation is to approve it, and Kristen has identified where the funds would come out of already.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agreement. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, looks like we have an ordinance. Would this be Stephanie or you?
Yes.
Stephanie. All right. Agenda item number 6 is an ordinance of the City of Lamar, Colorado, rezoning the tract of land known as Lot 1, Block 1, Osteen 0, lots 1 to 18, Block 2, Osteen, and lots 1 to 5, Block 3, Osteen, from MH, mobile home, to R2 for residential. So Stephanie?
Thank you. Would you guys like to hear from Ivor Hill on this first before I read the ordinance, or would you rather I read the ordinance?
Let's do the ordinance so we know what it's about first, and then
Okay.
Ivor can speak on it. Is that okay?
Okay. So this has gone to the Planning and Zoning Commission. It did start back in September 29th of 2022. It has gone through public hearing. The board has approved to move forward with the ordinance. There were no objections that came to the city. So I'll go ahead and read the ordinance at this time. An ordinance for rezoning of tract of land and known as Lot 1, Block 1, Osteen 0, lots 1 to 18, Block 2, Osteen, and lots 1 to 5, Block 3, Osteen, from an MH to an R2. Whereas proper application has been made to the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Lamar, Colorado for the rezoning of an MH to R2, and whereas the Planning and Zoning of the City of Lamar, Colorado has considered the proposed rezoning of the tract of land known as Lot 1, Block 1, Osteen 0, lots 1 to 18, Block 2, Osteen, and lots 1 to 5, Block 3, Osteen. Whereas a public hearing was held before the Planning and Zoning Commission, met on July 18th, 2023, and now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lamar, Colorado, that the portion of this subdivision described as Lot 1, Block 1, Osteen 0, lots 1 to 18, Block 2, Osteen, and lots 1 to 5, Block 3, Osteen, MH, currently vacant. Planning and Zoning met on the July 18th, 2023, to discuss the proposed rezoning of the tract of land known as Lot 1, Block 1, Osteen 0, lots 1 to 18, Block 2, Osteen, lots 1 to 5, Block 3, Osteen, from MH to R2. The property owner is requesting the zoning change for the possible development of the land into future subdivision townhomes. The Planning and Zoning Board approved the request that the city clerk and designated city employee are hereby instructed to make all necessary changes to the official map of the City of Lamar to reflect the within zoning change.
Okay. Do we want to vote on this first, or would you like to hear from Ivor?
I'd like to hear from Ivor.
Okay.
I have a question on this. Is there still mobile homes sitting on the property?
There's currently 3 mobile homes on the property. They will be, two of them are currently rented, one is vacant. The 2 that are, I should say the lots are rented by Mr. Ivor Hill. He will be serving them with papers. They are aware that the changes are coming, and they will be given, I believe he said, a 6-month notice. One of them has already come to me in the building department. They've already purchased their own tract of land in Lamar and have been preparing it for the move. So I do know one of them has already planned ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Ivor?
What I would like to do is a couple of minutes, show you what we've got for that development that used the former homeless shelter as the example of the quality we're going to produce. And last week on Wednesday?
19th?
Yeah, on Wednesday we had a soft opening house of that. We had 35 people come. Rob came, the new president of the college, Powers Economic came, the county administrator came. So it wasn't really open to the public, but a lot of people came. You know, a lot of the staff came from here. We got really, really good favourable results, and we're taking that and taking that into this new development. So what we've got here is some brochures of this development. I'll pass those along. I'm struggling to walk at the present moment, so. Inside there's some photographs that are on both sides of the paper and some sketch. If you remember, that was a 2-bed, 1-bath, not in great condition. It's now a 4-bed,
3 full baths with a 2-car carport at the back. We think this is a quality that will attract the type of person to this community that you want, the doctors, the professionals, the attorneys. We have a property in Pueblo, which is my corporate office. Above it, we have an Airbnb, and by chance, we've got an articled attorney to one of the local judges who's now deciding he thinks he should be working in rural Colorado when he graduates next year. Looking at what you've got there, that is the quality we're going to produce. And I would really encourage you guys to come and see it. It's open every weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 till 4. And it's also open on Friday afternoons from 3 o'clock till 6 o'clock. The plan is to build a duplex next to it. So that would be the third house, basically. We're planning to put 19 units on Parmenter. Where that blue house is, we're going to drop that, use the material again, and put a single-family home in. That is where I'll end up living. In the gated section, there will be 18 townhomes in 9 structures in total. The quality will be this standard or greater. So this is the minimum we will produce to. In the middle of the park, my photographer that came down from Pueblo to do this, he suggested a pickleball court, which apparently is, well, I call it an old man's tennis game, but we would do that. One of the suggestions at the committee meeting on Tuesday night last week is that we make that available to the public, to the residents of Lamar. I would like to do that. I don't know if I really can. And the reason I say that is
Gated community.
it's a gated community. And if you're going to open it up to the public, you've just lost the security aspect. We may rearrange that part of it and give you a pickleball court outside of the development and have an exclusive one inside. I don't know if we've got the room. If we can, we will. All right? And that's what we said. So at the end of this, we think we'll give you 22 new houses, including the remodel. And I think that is what would help bring the people here. I know when I was having the amputation a few weeks ago, I was speaking to a doctor. She then brought another colleague of hers in, another doctor, and that person told me, so they knew what I was doing, that person told me that her friend had just refused the job at the health authority down here as a doctor simply because of the housing. That was the only reason. Everything else was favourable. That was the reason they refused it. This is the quality they want. Any questions?
So you had a soft opening on it, you said?
Yeah.
Have there been any offers on it?
Not yet. So we've had a total, it's around about 70. I can't remember, it's 67. I added the numbers. We did a tally count per hour, and I think it's either 67 or 70 people, including the soft opening, since then. But I have been told that we've got a very, very strong piece of interest on that property.
Your last visit with this, you mentioned that you use local contractors?
This one was done by Ark Valley. And we've got 2 properties in Pueblo, and we've got 7 to do in Trinidad. 7 in Trinidad's going to be later. We own an apartment complex down there. Ark Valley are going to go and do my properties in Pueblo. I'm very, very impressed with the quality. We will put them up in accommodation there while they do it. And then we will do a remodel on one house. It's an identical situation. We've got a remodel on a house, and adjacent to it, we've got a vacant piece of land. So we're going to build a house there. The architects are working on that design now. Then we'll come back and do the duplex here, and then we will do the Parmenter development. But yeah, we like Ark Valley. They are very easy to deal with. Between myself and Tim, I think we came up with a brilliant design. And,
Yeah, they did great work there.
On that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're looking at how long before you break ground on the Parmenter subdivision?
What do you need before you engineering?
It'll have to go back to planning and zoning, so it could be like 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, which fits in. Tim's saying 3 months to remodel, 4 months to build. And then we're going to be hitting weather situations, so it would be ideal for us to be here rather than close to the mountains. But I think realistically, if we can get 1 year from now to be into that development, I think that would be good. I'm going to be in central Russia 4 times in that time period, so I'm not going to be around all the time, but I've got something to do out there.
Okay. So how many of those are going to be handicapped?
They're all going to be designed for handicap accessible. You know, and this one here, if you see it, you've got the ramp.
Yes, sir.
We've only had 1 negative comment, believe it or not, on that house, and it was that handicap ramp. Somebody says, I don't like it. I can't please everybody. I thought it was great, you know.
Some of the new regulations made them extend that out and make it a longer one because they make the grade or the angle be a lot less, so it had to be longer.
What did you think of it, Rob? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
It's definitely, we met people who worked there as a daycare center before it was the homeless shelter, and they just couldn't believe the difference in what the building was.
What was the one complaint from somebody that was not handicapped or had somebody that was handicapped?
I offered it as a way of getting home after a few drinks even, but it didn't seem to for that. But they were from Denver. I think what Tim, I'm not going to take responsibility for this design. The colour schemes, it was a coordinated effort with like all different swatches all over the walls, what colour works. We paint it, we didn't like it, we'd repaint it, and it worked. It really worked, and I think it would be good for the city. 22 new houses.
Okay. All right. Well, with that said, do you have any other questions for Ivor before we move on?
I do not.
Okay, so thank you, Ivor. We need to get a motion on this first reading of the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance on the first reading. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, great. So we can move on and we'll bring that back for the second reading, right? Okay, the next item on the agenda is the 2 amended items that were amended. We have an appointment to the Appeals and Adjustment Boards first, and that is for, Stephanie's bringing that in to us. Who is this for? Jim Larrick's replacement? Renda Emick.
Perfect. Thank you for allowing these to be on. I appreciate it. So Jim Larrick had tendered his resignation effective immediately from the Adjustment Appeals Board. It happened to coincide with us getting ready to have another term that had expired. So it kind of worked out well as far as that goes for us. We only received 2 applications for the 2 positions, the first one being the Jim Larrick. We received one from Renda Emick. So her application was taken to the board. It was posted on social media, in the radio. So all aspects of that were met. Renda Emick's application is attached. The board spoke over it and was very much in favor of seeing her join us. So the recommendation by the Adjustment and Appeals Board is that we allow Renda Emick to fill Jim Larrick's term, which would have expired on July 1st of 2026. So she would be in until that time.
All right. Any questions from the council? Or do you want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions?
I don't have any.
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. Next item on the agenda is your second adjustment and appeals request.
The second one was for Polly Day Jensen. His term ended July 1st of 2023. He did put in his application again to stay on the board for another 5 years. His term will expire July 1st of 2028. Again, everything was followed as far as posting it in the local media, advertisement. All that is listed on the agenda commentary. The board met, talked over it, and they would like to see Polly Day Jensen reinstated to the board.
Okay. Council?
So moved to accept Polly Day Jensen.
So a motion and a second. Any final questions?
No.
All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate it, thank you.
All right, next is miscellaneous items. Do we have any questions online or anything like that we need to address? Okay. The only other thing I was going to mention, and I will run out and grab those here shortly, but for the council, I was going to mention in my reports and correspondence, but the owners at, or the individuals over at LV Food Services have given us a stack of VIP invitations to the ribbon cutting grand opening on Friday, July 28th at 9 a.m. I'll pass those out to the council. Of course, I just wanted to make sure that everybody got that invitation and that everybody in the community was aware of it as well. So they'll be doing the ribbon cutting at 9 a.m. and the grand opening at 10 on Friday, July 28th. This will be for both the KFC as well as the Charlie's Cheesesteak. So if you're out and about next Friday, you might, or this Friday.
This Friday.
This Friday.
This Friday.
Stop by and join us for the big ribbon cutting. So aside from that, we'll move on to the next item, which is the executive session. There are two executive sessions. One is for the discussion of personnel matters to include discussion and/or refinements to the city administrator's contract under CRS section 24.6, 402, subsection 4, subsection F. And then the second executive session is for city council minus councilmember Bates to receive legal advice from the city attorney on election and Tabor tax questions under Colorado Revised Statutes 24.6, 402, subsection 4, subsection B. What is the council's pleasure on that? Moving in?
Motion to move into executive session.
Second.
I have a motion to move into the executive session and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
So we will now move into an executive session. There is no decisions coming out of the executive session. So shortly after the executive session closes, we will adjourn the standard meeting. Our next meeting is Monday, August the 14th, 2023 at 7 p.m. So we hope to see you then. Thank you very much for joining us.